Most people will never wake up early. That's the hard truth. Not because they can't, because they never decide to. They hit that snooze button one more time, roll over, pull the blanket up over their shoulder, and they tell themselves the same quiet lie they told themselves yesterday. Just 5 more minutes. Just one more day. I'll start Monday. I'll start next month. I'll start when things calm down. And I'll tell you something I've watched play out across more lives than I can count. Things never calm down. The morning you keep putting off is the life you keep putting off. And the man or woman you could have become is still in there, still waiting, still buried under one more hour of sleep. Now, let me tell you what's really going on. Because the problem was never the alarm clock. The problem was never the bed being warm or the room being cold. The problem was never that you didn't get enough rest. The problem is something deeper, something most people never look at honestly. Here's the truth. The hour you wake up in the morning is a confession. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells yourself exactly how seriously you take your own life. It tells you whether you're running the day or whether the day is running you. It tells you whether you have a mission or whether you're just drifting from one obligation to the next, hoping things work out. See, most people don't have a reason to get up early. That's the real issue. They have a job, sure. They have bills, sure. They have responsibilities, of course. But they don't have a mission. They don't have a fire. They don't have something pulling them out of that bed before the world starts pulling at them. And so, they sleep until the last possible minute, until the alarm is shrieked 4 times, until guilt finally drags them upright. Then they stumble into the day already behind, already reacting, already losing. And here's what nobody tells you about that. The way you start your morning is the way you start your life. Every single day, a man who cannot conquer the first hour of his day will not conquer the rest of it. A woman who cannot govern her own waking will not govern her own future. It's that simple. It's that uncomfortable. And it's that important. You see, the world has trained you to believe that sleep is the prize, that rest is the reward, that mornings are something to be endured, gotten through, survived. But I want to tell you something different today. Something I've watched change ordinary people into extraordinary ones. The morning isn't the price you pay for the day. The morning is the day. Everything that follows is just the echo of how you began. So here's the law I want you to write on the inside of your mind. The one you'll come back to long after you've forgotten my voice. If you own the morning, you own the day. If you own the day, you own the year. And if you own the year, you own the life. Read it again. Say it out loud if you have to. Because in the next hour, I'm going to show you why this one small habit, getting yourself out of that bed at 5 in the morning for 30 straight days, has more power to remake your entire existence than any book you'll ever read, any seminar you'll ever attend, any promise you'll ever make to yourself on New Year's Eve. Let me tell you something. Years ago, I knew a man named Earl, worked in a small print shop just outside of town. Quiet fella, married, 2 kids, drove an old pickup with a dent in the side he never bothered to fix. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't dumb. He was, as we used to say, a good man with a tired soul. Earl had been telling himself for 15 years that he was going to start his own business. 15 years. He had the plans in a folder in his kitchen drawer. He had the name picked out. He'd even sketched a logo on the back of a napkin. But every morning he woke up at 6:45, kissed his wife, drank his coffee standing up, threw on a shirt, and ran to a job he'd outgrown 10 years before. And one day, I sat with him on his front porch, and I asked him plain, "Earl, what's keeping you from that business of yours?" And he looked at me, and his eyes were wet, and he said, "I don't know. I just never seem to have the time." Now I want you to hear that. He didn't have the time. A man with 24 hours a day, just like you, just like me, just like every soul who ever walked this earth, didn't have the time. And I'll tell you what, nobody told me about people like Earl until I was old enough to see it for myself. They don't lack time. They lack mornings. Well, Earl finally got tired. Tired of the folder. Tired of the napkin. Tired of looking at his children and wondering what kind of man they were watching. And he made one small decision. Just one. He set his alarm for 5 o'clock in the morning, and he gave himself 2 hours before the world woke up. 2 hours that belonged to him. 2 hours to plan, to build, to read, to think, to put one brick on top of another for the life he actually wanted. 2 years later, he walked into that print shop, and he handed in his notice. 5 years later, he had a shop of his own with his name on the door. And he told me once, sitting on that same porch, he said, "You know, I didn't change my whole life. I just changed my morning, and the morning changed everything else." That's the turning point most people never reach. Not because they can't, because they keep waiting for some big dramatic moment to shake them awake. And the dramatic moment never comes. What comes instead is one quiet decision made in the dark before the sun is up, to get out of that bed, to put your feet on the floor, to begin. Now here's what's fascinating. If you watch people closely, and I have for a long time, you'll see two kinds of human beings walking around in this world. The first kind wakes up to an alarm and resents it. The second kind wakes up before the alarm and beats it to the punch. The first kind starts the day reacting. The second kind starts the day commanding. The first kind grabs the phone before they grab their own thoughts. The second kind grabs their own thoughts before the world has a chance to grab them. The first kind drinks coffee like medicine. The second kind drinks coffee like ceremony. The first kind tells you they're not a morning person. The second kind tells you they weren't either until they decided to become one. The first kind says, "I'll do it when I feel like it." The second kind says, "I'll do it whether I feel like it or not, because that's the whole point." Same 24 hours, same body, same brain, same beating heart in the chest, but two entirely different lives unfolding because of one entirely different relationship with the morning. And here's the part that'll sting if you let it. Most people are the first kind. Most people. The crowd. The average. The drifters. The good folks who mean well and dream big and accomplish little. They are not bad people. They are not weak people. They are sleeping people. Asleep to their own potential. Asleep to their own power. Asleep in the most literal sense, while the few are already up, already working, already pulling ahead by hours that will compound into years. If you do what most people do, you'll get what most people get. And most people get tired, broke, and bitter by the time they're 60, not because life cheated them, because they slept through it. Now, let me share something with you. Something that took me a long time to understand, and I wish somebody had grabbed me by the shoulders and said it to me when I was a young man. Waking up at 5 in the morning is not about the hour. It's about the identity. You see, when you drag yourself out of that bed in the dark, when the rest of the world is still under the covers, when every cell in your body is begging you to lie back down, and you don't, something happens inside of you that no book can teach. You cast a vote. A small, quiet, unannounced vote. And the vote says, "I am the kind of person who does hard things even when nobody is watching. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. I am the kind of person who will not be ruled by my own comfort." And here's what nobody tells you. You don't change your life by deciding to change your life. You change your life by changing who you are, one small vote at a time. And there is no faster, no cheaper, no more honest way to change who you are than to win the first battle of every single day, before breakfast, before email, before the noise begins. Because the morning is undefeated as a teacher. The morning will tell you exactly who you are. It will tell you whether you're disciplined or just talking about discipline. It will tell you whether you mean it or whether you're just dreaming about meaning it. It will tell you whether the words you spoke last night, the promises you made to yourself, the vision you wrote down in your journal, whether any of it was real or whether it was just another performance you put on for yourself before you went back to sleep. Now, some people will say, "Well, I'm just not a morning person." And I want to be gentle here, but I also want to be honest. That's not a fact. That's a story. That's a story you've been telling yourself for so long, you mistook it for truth. There is no morning gene. There is no biological category of human being designed for failure at sunrise. There is only habit. And habits, my friend, can be broken, and new ones can be built. And the person you are at 5 in the morning is not the person you have to remain. It is the raw material out of which a new person gets carved. Here's another thing. The compounding is what nobody talks about. 2 hours a day before the world wakes up doesn't sound like much, but 2 hours a day for 30 days is 60 hours. 60 hours of focused, uninterrupted, undisturbed work on the one thing you keep saying matters most. 60 hours in 30 days. 730 hours in a year. That's 18 40-hour work weeks of progress you're handing yourself, free of charge, while the rest of the world is still asleep. You think that won't change your life? You think that won't change your finances? You think that won't change your body, your mind, your marriage, your business, your relationship with God, your relationship with yourself? Let me tell you something. A penny that doubles every day for 30 days becomes more than $5 million. That's compounding. And the same principle applies to mornings. 1 quiet hour today, doubled and doubled and doubled by consistency, becomes a life nobody around you can explain. So let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Nobody's listening but you. How much time did you spend yesterday working on you? An hour? 30 minutes? 15? Nothing? When was the last time you got out of bed before the sun came up and did something, anything, for the future version of yourself? When was the last time you went a full week without hitting the snooze button? A month? Have you ever? Are you living the life you imagined, or are you living the leftovers of the life you keep postponing? Be honest. Look at the calendar on the wall. Look at the goals you wrote down a year ago. Look at the body in the mirror, the bank account on the screen, the relationships in your home. And ask yourself, am I really living, or am I just sleeping with my eyes open? Because here's the catch. You can't keep waking up at 7, 8, 9 in the morning and expect the kind of life that only comes to people who are willing to win the first hour. You can't keep starting your day with snooze and end your life with significance. You can't keep telling yourself you'll do it tomorrow when you've been saying tomorrow for 10 years already. The morning is the proving ground. And every day you either pass the test or you fail it, and nobody knows but you. And that's exactly what makes it the most important test of all. Now, let me tell you about 2 brothers I knew growing up. Twins, actually. Same family. Same opportunities. Same starting point. Raised in the same small house. Ate the same meals at the same table. Went to the same school. Had the same parents who loved them both equally. One we'll call James. The other, Robert. By the time they were 30, you would not have believed they came from the same womb. James was thriving, owned his own business, healthy, married well, present with his kids. Robert was struggling, still working a job he hated, still talking about the things he was going to do, still waiting for the right time, the right break, the right mood. And one Christmas, I sat with their old father, a man who had watched this unfold for 30 years. And I asked him plain, what was the difference? What did one of them have that the other didn't? And the old man smiled, and he said, James got up early. That was it. From the time he was about 19, James started getting up at 5 in the morning every day. Robert never did. And that small thing, that one small difference repeated over 10,000 mornings, became the canyon between their 2 lives. Same family, same opportunities. Same starting point. Different mornings, different lives. Now, my old mentor, and I've spoken of him before, a man I'll call Mr. Schoaf, though that wasn't his name. Mr. Schoaf once told me something I've never forgotten. He said, son, the successful man and the failing man have almost identical days, 24 hours, same sun, same air, same problems. The difference is what they do in the first hour after they open their eyes. The successful man uses that hour. The failing man loses it. And from that first hour onward, everything else cascades. He said to me once, on a winter morning, when I'd shown up to a meeting yawning and apologizing for being tired, he said, don't tell me about your dreams if you can't conquer your mattress. Don't tell me about the life you want to build if you can't even build a morning. The morning is the smallest unit of the life. Master it, and the rest of it will bend in your direction. Lose it, and the rest of it will run you ragged. I never forgot that, and I'm telling it to you now because somebody needs to tell you the same thing somebody once told me. The discipline you keep when no one's watching is the destiny you build when everyone is. Here's the thing about discipline that nobody tells you. People think discipline is heavy. People think discipline is hard. People think discipline is the painful thing you avoid as long as you can. But let me tell you what I've learned. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. And every single morning you choose comfort over discipline. You're not avoiding pain. You're trading a small pain today for a crushing pain tomorrow. You're trading the ounce for the ton. And one day, 10 or 20 or 30 years from now, you will sit on the edge of a bed in a quiet room and you will feel the full weight of every snooze button you ever pressed. And no amount of sleep will be worth what it cost you. I want you to feel that, not to scare you, to wake you up. Because the bed that feels so kind to you in the morning becomes the prison that holds you for a lifetime if you let it. Now here's the irony. The people who wake up early are actually losing sleep. They're gaining life. They're gaining quiet. They're gaining the one window in the day when the phone doesn't ring, when the kids aren't crying, when the boss isn't calling, when the world hasn't yet figured out you exist. That window, that hour or two before the noise begins, is the most valuable real estate in your entire 24 hours, and most people give it away for free in exchange for a few extra minutes of unconsciousness. It's not about sleep. It's about ownership. It's not about being tired. It's about being intentional. It's not about the hour. It's about the man or the woman you become by claiming it. You can't sleep through your potential and expect to wake up to your destiny. You can't keep your dreams in your head and your body in the bed and expect the two to ever meet. And here's what I want you to understand about 30 days. Why 30 days? Why not 3? Why not 300? Because 30 days is long enough to change you, but short enough to attempt. 30 days is long enough that you can't fake it. 30 days is long enough that the old you starts to die and the new you starts to breed. The first 3 days are willpower. The next 7 are war. Around day 10, you'll want to quit, and that's exactly when you can't. By day 15, something shifts. By day 20, you start to feel different in your own skin. By day 30, you have built a small monument inside yourself that no one can ever tear down. You have proven to yourself that you can keep a promise. And let me tell you something. A person who can keep a promise to himself can build anything. Now, I told you earlier there was something I wanted to come back to. Something I said I'd tell you before we finished. And here it is. The reason most people fail at this is not because the alarm is too early. The reason most people fail is because they try to do it alone, in silence, with no plan, fueled by nothing but a vague feeling that they should. That doesn't work. Not for long. Feelings are fuel that runs out by day 4. What works is this. You need 3 things to make the 5 a.m. habit last for 30 days, and to make it stick for the rest of your life. First, you need a why that's bigger than your bed. You need a reason to get up. That means more to you than the warmth of those sheets. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's the man or woman in the mirror who deserves a better life. Maybe it's the work you were put here to do and have been postponing. Whatever it is, you need to know it. Write it on paper. Tape it to your bedroom wall. Read it the night before. So when that alarm goes off, you don't have to find motivation in the dark. You reach for a reason that's already there waiting. Second, you need a plan for those first 2 hours. Don't get up at 5 just to sit on the couch and stare at the wall. That's a waste of a miracle. Plan it the night before. Write down what you'll do at 5, what you'll do at 6, what you'll do at 7. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's the work on the side business you've been promising yourself you'd build. Maybe it's the book you've been talking about writing for 10 years. Pick something that matters, then go do it. Third, and this is the one people miss. You need to make peace with discomfort. You need to know, going in, that this is going to feel terrible for a while. Your body will protest. Your mind will negotiate. Your bed will sing you a beautiful lullaby every single morning, begging you to come back. And you simply must, learn to hear that song and walk away from it anyway. Because every morning you walk away from that song, you become a stronger version of yourself. And every morning you give in, you become a smaller one. Here's what I've come to believe after watching people my whole life. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is built mostly before breakfast. Think about that. Before most of the world has cracked an eye open, the person you are becoming has already lifted weights, or read pages, or written words, or prayed, or planned, or built. Before the noise, before the demands, before the world starts taking pieces of you, you will have already given the best piece of yourself to the most important person you'll ever serve, the future you. Most people give the leftovers of their day to themselves. They give the world their best hours and themselves whatever's left over at 10 o'clock at night when they're too tired to do anything but scroll. And then they wonder why they're not progressing. They wonder why they're so stuck. They wonder why life feels like a treadmill. It's because you can't build a great life on leftovers. You can't build a great body on leftovers. You can't build a great mind on leftovers. You can't build a great soul on leftovers. You have to give yourself the first hour, the freshest hour, the holiest hour, before anyone else can claim it. And that hour is at 5 in the morning. And it's yours if you'll take it. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I'm tired. I work hard. I deserve my rest. I deserve my sleep. And I want to be tender here because I understand. I really do. But I want to ask you something. Would you rather be tired and ahead or rested and behind? Would you rather be a little uncomfortable and on your way to the life you imagined, or perfectly comfortable and slowly drifting away from it? Would you rather earn a stiff back in the morning or carry a broken heart at the end? You'll be tired either way, my friend. Tired from chasing your dreams or tired from running from them. The fatigue is the same. The destination is not. So here's my challenge to you tonight. Not next week. Not next month. Tonight. Before you go to bed, I want you to do 3 small things. Just 3. Because small things, done with conviction, become enormous things over time. First, I want you to set your alarm for 5 in the morning. Not 5:30. Not 6. 5. And I want you to put that alarm clock across the room, not next to your bed. Across the room. So that when it rings, you have to stand up to silence it. Once you're on your feet, the war is already half won. Second, I want you to write down on a small piece of paper the reason you are doing this. 1 sentence. 1 reason. Why does the future version of you need that early hour? Write it. Put that paper next to your alarm. So when you walk across the room at 5 in the morning, the first thing you see is not the time. The first thing you see is the reason. Third, I want you to commit right now in your own heart where nobody is watching, where nobody can hear you, to 30 days. Not forever. Not a lifetime. 30 days. You can do anything for 30 days. And by the end of those 30 days, you will not be the same person who started them. I promise you that. I have watched it happen too many times to count. Don't wait until you feel ready. You will never feel ready. Don't wait until life calms down. Life will not calm down. Don't wait until your situation improves. Your situation will improve because you started, not before. Start tomorrow. 5 a.m. across the room. Reason on paper. 30 days. That's the challenge. That's the door. Walk through it. And let me tell you one last thing before I let you go, because I want you to carry this with you when the alarm rings tomorrow morning and your body starts negotiating with your soul. You are not the person you've been. You are the person you are becoming. And the person you are becoming gets to be decided every morning when that alarm goes off. Every single morning you get a vote. Every single morning you get to choose. The crowd or the few, the bed or the floor, the comfort or the calling. There is a small group of people in this world, a quiet, scattered, mostly invisible group, who get up before the sun and build their lives one quiet morning at a time. They don't post about it. They don't brag about it. They don't need anyone to know. They just do it, day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And while the rest of the world is wondering why their lives never seem to change, this small group is quietly running the world. I want you to join them. I want you to belong to them. Not because they're better than anyone else. They're not. They're just awake. And the world is starving for awake people. You have it in you. I know you do. If you didn't, you wouldn't have listened this long. You wouldn't have felt the things you've been feeling while I've been talking. The discomfort you feel right now isn't weakness. It's the future you, knocking on the door, asking to be let in. Open the door, let him in, let her in. Tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, when the rest of the world is still asleep, open that door. Success is not something you find. It is something you build, one morning at a time. It is not given to the talented. It is given to the disciplined. It is not earned by the loud. It is earned by the early. Don't wish it was easier, my friend. Wish you were better. And then go become better. Starting tomorrow, starting at 5, starting with the simple, sacred act of putting your feet on the floor when every part of you wants to stay in the bed. That's where your new life begins. Not in some far-off moment of clarity, not in some dramatic turning point, not in some lightning strike of inspiration. It begins in the dark, alone, before the world wakes up, when you choose, one more time, to keep the promise you made to yourself. 30 days, 5 a.m. One small life transformed. The morning is waiting for you. Don't keep it waiting any longer.